Right. Hey everyone. So this is gonna be a recording session of this fan art that I'm doing of, Makima from Chainsaw Man. Yeah, it's gonna be a casual hangout sort of thing, but exclusive to class 101 students and also patron, $10 tier patrons. So yeah, let's get this started. I went ahead and did the initial drawing and did some masking underneath it. So yeah, let's get this started. The style that I'm mainly going for is something similar to I mean it's more of a personal style, I guess, and I'm trying to explore and experiment and figure out some style that's like pretty simple, but also relying heavily on the line work because I'm trying to get better at the draftsmanship and doing the drawings. I'm gonna tweak something here. The one thing that's really cool about Procreate is like you can highlight or select a couple of multiple layers and manipulate them using the liquify tool all at once. I'll probably be doing this later on, but yeah, let's go ahead and start adding some, I guess, blush or some gradients and like warmth to the skin. And typically when I do the masking and picking out the colors, I keep them pretty muted, pretty neutral, and then I try to add more, tone, the skin tone, separately later on. Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me well because I took some time figuring out how to get this mic quality to be really good. I do have like computer fan noise. It's pretty loud, so I try to make sure to filter that out as much as possible. But anyways, yeah, so I'm adding some blush here and there. It's pretty much like around corners of areas, and I try not to overdo it. So yeah, it's something I did go over in the class 101, but yeah, I wanted to make sure it's I can review it here and make it even easily like understood, and hopefully it makes sense. So yeah, around areas that have the ambient occlusion and deeper shadows, I think I try to target those when I'm adding a bit of like the warm skin tone and warmth, and around knuckles and even the elbows, and maybe just the joints in general and corners, even the ears. I try not to overdo it. If I overdo it, always tone the opacity, the overall opacity down, and just go back and forth and see the difference. Once I'm pretty satisfied with it, just leave it be. I'm gonna add some. I mean, in the anime, she doesn't really have lipstick, but for my style, I guess I will add it to her. See how that looks. Yeah, why not? I did that for the last Makima fan art and in my style, and yeah, I think it turned out well. I quite feel proud of that one. So I'm gonna try to retain that style if I can, or make it even better. Yeah. But yeah, I'm using just typical soft airbrush, nothing special or custom, nothing different, tailor-made for anything. I'm gonna go over the eyes again. I like to mix between something cool toned and warm. And again, I don't want to make sure I don't overdo it. Let's add some more warm skin tone. Turn the opacity down by a lot. I don't want to, yeah, I want to make sure I'm controlling the opacity and not overdo. And, you know, I go over a couple of times because the opacity is really low. It's too low and I'm having to like go over too many times, and I should, you know, turn up the opacity a little bit. Just, you know, feel for it if you think it's necessary. Like this is way too much. That's way too much. It almost looks like she has a rash or something, or yeah, so something not too much. Keep it subtle. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, if I'm satisfied with it, I'll just merge it with the previous warm tone layer that I made. What else? It's a lot of thinking process and trying to figure out what to do next. But notice that I have the skin at the very bottom of the list, you know, all these different parts of her. Of all the masks that I've done, you know, the top, hair, eyes. The skin is at the very, is like the next one above the mask, the character masked layer. I try to layer it that way. It's just a lot easier. It's not the only way, but so I think the next one I'm gonna color her nails. And I'll color it, yeah, pretty basic, you know, pink color or like a magenta red, like her hair color, red color. But yeah, follow the nail shape if possible. Like more like an oval shape. Turn at an angle, I guess. So that's it. What else do I need to do? I think the lines, I think I'm gonna keep them black. Usually, in the past I did color the lines. But for this, I don't think it needs to be colored. But I might try to, you know, create a line, like a color version of the lines. What I did was I you know, on Procreate I just select the visible part of that layer, of this line layer, and what I do is I hold down with 2 fingers on that layer box, the blue layer box, and what it does is just selects what's visible on that layer, which is the line. And what I did here, I just made a new layer and then clicked on the icon, the gray square box, and filled the layer with that color that I selected, and that's what it is. It adds like a layer of a colored version of the line. So that's pretty cool. I'll clip mask it down here. I'm just experimenting, and maybe I'll try Gaussian blur and blur that line, and then take the opacity down so it's not overpowering. So yeah, like that. Yeah, I think that looks cool. I'm gonna start doing the shadow, and yeah, there are multiple ways to do it, but yeah, I try the way that I taught at class 101. So you know, we'll duplicate the mask of the character and put it over everything. As you saw, I just like duplicated this blue one and put it over here. Turn it to multiply. No, that's too dark, but yeah, multiply. And turn up turn it all the way up to max white. Okay. And what I do, take two fingers and swipe to the right, tug it to the right, and then you'll notice in the icon of the layer, there's checkerboard pattern behind the white silhouette of the character. That means it's only gonna affect what's visible on that layer. It's not gonna create any new brush strokes and sticking out outside of it. It's only gonna affect the inside, which is what we want. I mean, you can do that, or you just clip mask, but I like it this way. This is a lot better. I have these pre-selected, these shadows, kind of like the desaturated versions of purple and pink. You don't need to have, you can just eyeball it. You don't need to have the pre-selected, you know, as long as it's around this area. I mean, at least for me, I think it just works well that way. So yeah, let's start doing the shadows. It's a bit too dark. And I just keep it. I mean, I could try even like, I mean, it's good to have like, you know, think about where the light source is and how it's shining down on the character. But for this, I think I'm gonna keep it pretty neutral, pretty familiar. I could do something a bit more dynamic and different, but I think for the sake of the demo, I'll keep it pretty neutral. It's coming from top of her at an angle. So yeah, typically I start with the chin, and that kind of gives me a basic idea where the light source is. It's angled. Yeah, even eyelashes. Here, not too much. It's close. The hair is close to the skin, so yeah, to get a good grasp of this, it's good to, you know, look at the reference. You have a good source of reference. Yeah, definitely use that. So yeah, you're kind of doing homework and learning, but also doing the work. For me, I'm not really referencing anything. I'm just going by um, the visual library that I have in my head. But yeah, thanks everybody for sticking around with me. I know I haven't been as active due to um, you know, the multiple things that I've been working on and projects, personal projects, also, full-time job that I have started recently. It requires me every attention I can muster. So, but yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I really appreciate you guys supporting me on Class 101 and Patreon. But yeah, hopefully I can try to do this for you guys exclusively. So, to show my gratitude. So yeah, these are mainly the cast shadows that's casting over in form of that shape of that source that's casting the shadow. So it should just reflect that shape. And also, showing like the three-dimensional shape of like this ponytail here, this piggy tail. Keeping it toon shaded or cell shaded. Very simple. Nothing too crazy. And just having, the imagination of where that light is in your head as you're doing this. Yeah, just constantly thinking where that light source is. And yeah, it's underneath here on her arm. Yeah, even here, trying to figure out the shadow and, drawing the Terminator, the line, and the border between light and dark. Let's see. Sure. It's kind of like the the way anime like is shaded, right? That's kind of the look that I'm going for. It's the cell shaded, toon shaded look. And this is part of the experiment that I'm trying to try and explore here. Discover is like what can I do? Try to do consistently and draw something that will look appealing, long lasting, and it can be something that I genuinely like to practice and keep experimenting. Especially for fun, on the side as a personal project, and something that doesn't take me too long. It doesn't require me to render and spend too much time. So yeah, I think it's pretty simple so far. And again, I want to, really showcase the line work and try to make that part of the final look. And yeah, the style's more like anime, but more, I guess, the classic anime. More mature, like realistic, semi-realistic style characters. Kind of like, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, the original, like the movie Ghost in the Shell, I guess. Yeah, even, I mean, the latest Chainsaw anime, which I think is fantastic, and that's what prompted me to do this fan art tribute work. I'm gonna have to fix that later, but maybe I'll crop it. Yeah, another good practice is maybe doing like a still life. But instead of doing it 1-to-1 and fully rendered, you can do like a toon shading, cell shading style of replicating that look. Yeah, another good reference would be is to have like a screenshot of these animes and studying off of them, like the way it's toon shaded and where to draw those border between light and dark contrast. Here I'm just kind of eyeballing him for the most part, seeing if it works or not. See, I start using lower opacity to apply some of these form shadows here. Maybe down to 50%, around there. That way there's some softer transition between the border, light and dark, the terminator. Increase the brush size here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be adding highlights to her hair. maybe elsewhere, like her like lips or you know eyes, glint in her eyes. But as for the hair, I think maybe I'm gonna keep it true to the anime's style because I noticed they do not have highlights on the hair, like the speculative ring highlight going around the hair, right? So I thought that looked. I noticed it maybe 5 episodes in, and thought, oh, that looks pretty nice. I think that's what makes it look really different and look more realistic. Because in traditional anime, they all have those speculative highlights and glint, or I mean, ring of, um, you know, shiny hair, right? And yeah, it does make it look like wet or shiny. And maybe it doesn't look as realistic. And I guess they chose not to do that because of exactly because of that reason. Yeah, I think I want to try it here. Keep it flat and not super shiny. Yeah, pretty happy with the shadow. I'm gonna switch to brush pen here. Maybe add a bit more shadow here. But I'm gonna tone down the opacity. I'm gonna add some softer shadow. Again, I'm experimenting. Even her breast here. Let's see if I can have a more smoother transition on top of a clean, sharp transition. Even the top of the deltoids. Maybe not too much. Yeah, maybe it's not working there. Yeah, let's keep it pretty simple. Yeah. Maybe add some here to accentuate the shape a little bit. Maybe even the top of the head here. With lower opacity, much lower opacity of the brush. And I want to add that kind of like the top of the apple type of shape. So it's not perfectly round. It's not that like, you know, the hair kind of look. Not the best at explaining what I'm trying to say, but here, I hope you guys understand what I mean. Just a little bit, not too much. Push it away with my smudge brush. Just massage it back. So yeah, after I've done like the cell shading style of creating those the shadows, I just go over it again with like lower opacity and just soften some areas, not everything. I think really nice looking and believable art is you know, having both like sharp edges of shadows and soft fall off of shadows. Just makes it look more believable and real, and more natural. So yeah, I think it's almost getting close to close to being done. Almost there. Even here. Yeah, another way is like what I'm doing right here is like with the low opacity, just going over it over and over and over again, and that makes it, that gives a solid shadow color, but at the transition it gives a soft blending. It's probably more time consuming and less efficient, but you know, if it works, if the outcome is good, that's that's another way to do it. Some neck. So, oh yeah, I gotta do her nose. I'm trying to add some around the edges of her jaw and the face line, on her lip, the top part of her lip, casting that shadow because it's protruding out and creating that awning effect, like a roof, an angle roof. In the bottom of the lips, the lip. Here. Here. Also here, underneath the eyebrow. So also the double eyelid here. Not too much. Maybe too much. Yeah, underneath, under eyelid here. Yeah, I don't think I need to do the double eyelid. The nose, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. It's here, and maybe doesn't have to be whole nose. It doesn't need to. And I'll come back to it. Clavicle near the deltoid. Too much, I guess. More opacity version. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I think it looks good enough. Can even duplicate it, and if you want to push it really far, sometimes Yeah, that's another happy accident I've made before. Should I go really, really dark with the shadow? Probably not. Yep, probably not. And for the background, I think I'm gonna add like a bouquet, like not bouquet, vignette. Bouquet is totally different. Yeah. Kind of vignette. Vignette. Corners. Darker. And use a Gaussian blur and just soften that. Soften it and maybe even enlarge. It's not too much of a tunnel like blur going on. Needs to be doesn't need to be that obvious. Okay, I think yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here for now, and then I'll swing back and show you guys how I finish this off. Yeah, again, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to contact me or comment on the Patreon or social media, or even on yeah, I'll try to look at you know um those as much as possible and get back to you guys. But anyways, yeah, see you soon.